Welcome back to Sedlak Off-Road School, and in today's adventure motorcycle off-road riding tip, we're going to talk about this right after last week's video where we talked about the 5 most important techniques when it comes to riding sand. You went out, you tried it, and now you're stuck. So 2 things. Today we assume that you're riding by yourself. You don't have anyone to help you get the bike out. You see it buried, the rear end here, bash plate sitting on the sand. The first thing you want to make sure of is that when you straighten out your handlebars, and in my case this is all flat, make sure you clear out the path in front of your bike. So you can see here, in this case, it's all smooth sailing. A lot of times you get stuck in sand and there's another rut or more sand, softer sand behind it. Just make sure that you clear the path in front of your bike, make it all nice and smooth, so that once you get the bike going, it's not actually gonna just drop into another rut. It actually has 5, 6, 10 feet runway to kind of build up some momentum and keep you going. So tip number 2, now you have the bike straightened out, it's smooth in front of your bike. You want to make sure you grab the one side of the handlebars and just yank the bike left and right a little bit. What that does is, you can already see on my rear wheel, it breaks the rear tire loose a little bit. So now it has a little bit of room back there. The bike's not as stuck anymore. So now when I'm ready to get on the bike and fire it up, ride the bike out of it, it's not gonna just keep digging in. It actually has some room now to dig itself out. So you can see, you just rock it back and forth. And if you will bring the camera around to my side here, and you will see, especially on this side, once you're pushing the bike over, it's almost all the way out, right? So you bring it back in, this side, and now you have a good amount of room back there to ride the bike out. Okay, so this is the point now when I will get ready and I get on the bike. 2 things you want to make sure of. Number 1, and I talked about this in the sand riding video, 2nd gear. You don't want to try to dig your bike out in 1st gear, especially this case here. It's sitting high, so the tire is not really making good contact in the hole there. So in 1st gear, it's just going to be very aggressive and keep digging. Centered on the bike, fire it up, get it in 2nd gear, and then I'm standing in the sand, both feet down. And what I will do is, I'll get back, pull on the bars a little bit, and then when I'm ready, I'll jump forward, swing forward, dump the clutch at the same time, and for a short period of time, get on the gas really aggressively. So that way, the bike can really kind of jump out of the hole in 2nd gear, produce a bunch of torque, get the bike loose, and then once I feel the bike moving, once it has a little bit of momentum, I'm actually going to be very, very careful on the throttle, because at that point, most riders get the bike stuck again because they rip, and the bike just keeps digging itself in. So once you feel the bike picking up momentum, once you feel it start rolling, feather the clutch a little bit, very easy on the throttle, and then you will ride the bike out without any problems. So this is it, right? Especially the first moment, you could see I'm leaning back and then forcefully coming forward at the same time, quite aggressive on the throttle. I dump the clutch, the rear tire breaks loose. Then I find some traction, I get really easy on the throttle, build some momentum, and the bike rides right out. Really important is step 1 and step 2, right? If I had a bunch of soft sand, a bunch of rut in front of my front tire, it wouldn't be as easy for me to just build traction. Same if I don't break my rear tire loose, it would be much, much harder for me to just ride the bike straight out. Very important technique to practice, especially if you're planning on going out and riding some sand. Eventually you will get to the point where you get stuck, and this can be very frustrating and difficult, especially if you're in the middle of nowhere by yourself. So make sure before you go on any big rides, you find yourself a sandy spot and work on this technique a little bit. This is it for today's riding tip. Short one today, but I really think that it's a key technique to know, to work on, and also to demonstrate that yes, these bikes are big, they're heavy, but you can use the power that they have to your advantage even in situations like this. So thank you guys very much for watching. If you like this type of content, please like and subscribe, and we'll see you next week for another adventure bike riding tip.